Hello, I'm Matt Smart and welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to create something like this. And this is an animation created entirely from stills. So there's no video here. It's just stills. Obviously the particles are not stills, they're particles. And that fire also is video. I cheated with that. But yeah, so the whole thing is created with just an image of London and an image of some smoke. But you can see you get quite a nice 3D effect on that one. Pretty convincing. And I'll show you how simple that is to do. So first thing we need to do is create a new composition. There we are. 960 540. Great. We'll call this main comp. 300 frames, 25 frames a second. Frames a second is fine. And we'll drag into that comp London. We are in all its glory. Just scale that down a little bit. There we are. Get that in. And the way we create the actual sort of feeling of 3D and parallax and the sort of flying over this area is by using a tool called corner pin. So if we take corner pin, we drag that on. What we need to do is we just need to go into our effects, corner pin, and if we key all the actual pins, all 4 pins, which are these corner areas here at the start of the animation, and then we rekey them at the end, it's easy for us to sort of create this effect quite easily. So once we got our slider at the end, we can then start playing with this. So if we drag the bottom left one out, something like that, and then the top one out, something like that, not too far on the top, because you know these distance areas are not going to move too much as we're passing over, and you'll get some odd distortion on these buildings, because we're using a city here. We've given ourselves a bit of a problem with that, but we'll get around it. And then at the start we move that one, say, to about there, and then this one, not too much. You can see what's happening with these buildings, and it starts to look a little bit horrible. So if we scrub our slider, you can see already, it's not bad. You can see some distortion on some of these things, but it's not bad. The next thing I want to do is create a little bit of drama into this scene, and I've got this image of some clouds and some sea and a bit of sunset going on. And the reason I've got this is because it's got high contrast, and it's there's a little bit of drama to it, and you can use this kind of imagery to overlay onto imagery that hasn't got much interest in it, and to create a little bit of drama in that scene. So I'll show you what I mean. If I take this and I drag it on top, actually let me just pre-comp this London animation first. So we Control Shift C, pre-comp, and we'll just call this London, and that way we've still got the same effect like that. And we go into that comp, and then we take our sky image, we'll just sort of overlay that. So F4 to change the mode, and we'll overlay that on top. And you can see the kind of, it's just given a little bit of, if we just sort of look at this area here, you can see it looks like maybe there's some crazy fog going on, serious pollution day going on over there. So you can play with this a little bit. If we just sort of scale it up and maybe rotate it around and sort of set it, maybe shrink it down a little bit more, so maybe a bit more, and set it so you've got this sunset area here, which was a sunset, which is now a nuclear fallout over the city, and the rest of it's got some fog and some things going on. So that's given it a little bit more drama. The sky's got some contrast, which is cool. And then if we go back to our main comp, we can see that sits pretty well on there. Cool. Next thing we need to do is take our smoke and put that into the scene. So I've got this image of a volcano, which is perfect. It's smoky, volcano-y, and it's sort of billowing out, and it's got some sort of sections that we can use to create, a kind of parallaxing effect within the smoke itself. So if we take our volcano and we put in a comp by itself, this way we can just create this separately. And what we need to do is simply just mask out these areas that we can then animate afterwards. So if we just take the volcano, take the pen tool. I'm not going to be too accurate with this because I have been to the pub and I can't be bothered doing all this masking business. It's, you know, already and it's pink, which is nothing against pink at all. So I don't know why I said that. Pink is great. So anyway, continue masking. You can do this more accurately if you want to, if you have time. I do have time, but I'm not going to. You know, look at this. It's just disgraceful. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You'll see by the end result. And look at this. Just there we are. There we are. Magic. We did it. And close that off. Cool. So yeah, if we duplicate that and then maybe move that underneath, solo that one, get rid of that mask, and then we want to use a mask to draw around the middle section. So again, just take a pen tool and roughly go around. Yeah, I'm not going to sort of fast forward the video so you can, you know, just see at the end. I'm just going to keep going, and you can fast forward the video yourself if you need to. Actually, you probably won't need to. I'm going so quickly and roughly, it doesn't really matter. You'll see by the end that it doesn't really need to be too accurate. Or not. Maybe it does. Maybe this is just going to be complete rubbish, and I'm wasting everyone's time. So, here we are. Bottom, middle. Let's duplicate that one, move it to the bottom, get rid of that mask, and redo the top. So make sure that layer is selected, pen tool, and just create a nice mask around. There we are. I'm kind of guessing up here, it's quite bright. It looks like we've got a little bit there, and down. Just overlap a little bit on the middle section. So you might need that bit. Okay, cool. So just solo the top, middle, bottom. Perfect. I'm going to name these bottom, middle, top. And what we're going to need to do here, if I just go into the middle one here, I can see that this needs to be just moved down a little to cover that area just a bit. I mean, we could even just take the whole bit and move it down. Take the whole thing and move it down a little bit. Doesn't really matter. And the top, again, just move that down. We're probably going to want to feather these out a little bit. So if we just press F on the top and just feather that out. Same in the middle, F, feather, cool. And then the bottom, again, let's see with the right button there, just feather the bottom bit out as well. Perfect. Just close that up. Okay, so now we've got the volcano kind of cut out. We can drag it in if we want to, see how it looks. Put it in there, you know, perhaps scale it down just a tad, and we'll put it there because we're going to burn this building up here, you know, and we can kind of just sort of sit it on in this area here. Kind of looks like it could be on fire already, but it doesn't sit with the scene. So what we need to do is manually move it so it does. So, you know, you can just use eyeball some guides so you can see this bit hanging over the edge of that building. If we move to the end, you can just move it roughly back to where it was, and that kind of works. Yeah, it kind of works. I mean, it'll do. I mean, you can make it a little bit better yourselves if you want to. I'm kind of happy with that. So next thing we can do is a little bit of detail on the animation of this smoke. So if we go into the volcano, and there are a couple of ways we can do this. We can use a tool called Turbulence Displace, and just show you what that'll do on here. Something horrible at the moment. If we just decrease the size down, maybe something like that, and if I cycle the evolution, you can see it's creating a kind of smoky, bulgy feeling, but it's not, you know, you haven't got that much control over that. So if we use something called liquify, this one will give us a lot more control over what we do and what we want this smoke to do. So, you know, we've got these tools here. This one here is a kind of push and stretch, so that will stretch out our smoke quite nicely with a lot more control over what we, instead of, you know, over using turbulence displacing. And this one here is kind of what it says here. It's a twirl, and that will twirl it around, which is kind of great. You know, that's what we're looking for with this kind of effect. So, oh, I've got rid of that accidentally. There we go. So what we're going to need to do, if we go into the liquify and we key the distortion mesh at the start, and again, you know, as we did before, we key it at the end. The actual image at the start is fine. It's the end that we want to sort of change. So with that selected, we can take this brush. Also, if you press Control and left mouse button click, you can change the size of the brush, which is pretty useful also, obviously, for obvious reasons. But anyway, let's keep it like that, and we can kind of just twirl this round, maybe the other sort of way. Let's click this the other way for this side here, you know, and get a nice sort of rolling effect on the smoke. You know, move it around, maybe, yeah, overdo it if you want. You know, it's smoke, it's a bit of a mind of its own, and I'm no physician or physicist, physician. So that will go like that, and then maybe this center area, let's just make that a little bit bigger, just bold it towards you. Yeah, you know, so it's really coming out into the camera, and then, you know, it would probably rise up a little as well. Let's see what we're doing here. There we go. And it will come outside the mask as well, so don't worry about having to create any kind of extra pixels or anything like that. Cool. So, you know, and that's the kind of effect it's doing. This area here might need a little bit of a bulge, maybe something like that, and that looks pretty nice. Okay, so again, we'll do the similar thing for the middle. I'm going to solo it this time, and take our liquify, put that into the middle section. Again, if we go into liquify and we key the end and we key the beginning, we can leave the beginning and move to the end and start creating our rolling smoke. There we go. Just we'll go crazy. There we go. Everyone will think this is a video. It's amazing. Except you. A bit of bold, maybe make this a bit bigger. There we go. Get it out. You know, and you can just kind of be crazy rough with it. It doesn't matter. And we'll stretch this upwards. And one thing to think about actually when you're doing this is liquify is quite processor intense. So the image that you use to create these kind of warping effects shouldn't be too large. I'm probably pushing it with this one. You know, I wouldn't go more than maybe 600 or 700 pixels square for each image. Otherwise you're going to wind up slowing your machine up horribly, and it'll just frustrate everyone. Let's put that in the right place. Yeah, on top of that. There we are. So that's coming out quite nicely. Have a look what they look like together. Let's just hide the mask. And pretty smoky. Again, same for the top. So let's drag the liquify down onto the top and get going. So we roll that around, probably a bit more underneath as it rolls around this side, a bit more there, and then the other side, again, similar sort of things. It rolls around, maybe a little bit in the middle, and sort of drag that up a little bit of. You can also scale up each layer as well. That should give an extra bit of effect to it as well. So a bit of a bulge, increase the size of the brush, pull that up. Cool. All right, so now we've got our smoke. Get me, forgot to key that. We're gonna have to do that one again. So distortion mesh, distortion mesh. There we are. Okay. We need to reset it and then go back to the end, and we'll have our animation. Beautiful. So now we go back to our main comp. I'm gonna just play this through and see what we get. It's pretty slow. I'm gonna skip the video. See you in 2. Okay, cool. So this is what it looks like. It's pretty slow, but that's okay. Maybe we could have made the comp a little shorter, but it doesn't matter. You can kind of see very roughly that is a building that is on fire. It's using stills. You know, we can take it a little bit further. I do have this pre-comped movie video of flames that we can just sort of stick in here, which is pretty cool. And we can just sort of put that down and maybe put it behind there, just so it's licking out of the side. So I mean, these flames are pretty damn big. There we go. Maybe we just need to move that as well. So just key that in a sort of similar place and just sort of move it. Yeah, pretty cool. We won't do that. Forget that. That was a sucky idea. Okay, cool. So the next thing we can do really is, you know, give it some color correction. So if we go into a volcano, we'll color correct this separately to the main area. So if we go to Effect, Color Correction, and Curves, and we just want to, you know, maybe take some red out, maybe a bit of the green out too. You know, there's a lot of blue in this scene, so if we kind of match that a little bit and then bring the whole thing down, maybe up the highlights a little bit, maybe take a bit of that blue out and the green. Okay, back to the RGB, not so dark. You know, and you can see that's just a little bit more contrasting, a little bit more in the scene. And then we can create a new adjustment layer to again color correct the whole thing together. So again, let's just a little bit more contrast on there, a bit more there, maybe just a little bit green out, a bit of red. Oh, if you can hear a baby crying, that's my son. He does that when it's 1 in the morning, as it is now. And maybe just, do you know what I think I might do? I think I might desaturate this a little bit. Let's put a tint on there. But brilliant, perfect. Now it's a wartime fire. Maybe not so much. Here we go. That'll desaturate it quite nicely. And then, you know, there we have it. It's an animation of smoke pouring out of a building, flyover, just using still images. You know, you can get a pretty nice effect with it. So anyway, I've been Matt Smart. Thanks for listening to this tutorial. I will put the project file in a link below if you fancy using any of this stuff. And you know, let me know if you need any other tutorials put up. I'm happy to do anything you request. This is within reason, you know, without any magic. But yeah, click like, subscribe. Thanks for listening. See you next time.